excited this morning to be able to present this topic on the obese child prevention and the early interventions for parents. First, I want to apologize because we have been having technical issues to start the presentation for this live. And this is a topic that I would really want us to interact because obesity in young children is becoming a public health epidemic, and we need to do a lot so that this trend does not continue. You can imagine a situation where your child laughter is silenced because of lifestyle, and this would mean that this would be a good time that you need to change this. So if your child's future is going to be determined before his 10th birthday, then this is a serious problem, because obesity has a lot of implications on a child's life. It is not just the baby's fat. It leads silently to adult diseases, leading to social isolation and even emotional pain for the child. And the good thing is that this does not have to be the case. Obesity in children can be prevented, and that is the good news. So let's look at the global situation about childhood obesity. According to World Health Organization statistics, by the year 2022, there were over 39 million children under the age of 5 years who are obese. And Africa as a continent is witnessing a rapid increase in childhood obesity. This is especially so in many of the upcoming urban cities, and this is becoming a serious health issue. So in Kenya as a country, childhood obesity has risen from 3% previously to about 10% in this decade. So that means that the number of children under the 5 years who are obese account for about 10% of our children. And what does this imply? If we allow these trends to continue, it means that the number of children who will be obese will continue increasing, and this is going to pose serious problems, because as we know, obesity is associated with a lot of health issues, as we are going to see as we continue with this discussion. So how do we measure the metabolic body mass index in children? And usually there is the well-child growth chart, which is usually the chart that is used when you take your child for the wellness immunization, the chart they use for growth monitoring. And usually they use percentiles. So this what means is that children have been grouped in various percentiles. So if the child is under the 50th percentile in the growth curve, then it means that that child is underweight. And if the child is between the 5th and the 85th percentile, then that child is within the normal growth range. And if the child is between the 85th and the 95th percentile, that child is overweight. Then obesity sets in beyond the 95th percentile. This is considering the age and the sex of the child. So what are some of the risk factors for the childhood obesity? There is the genetics and the family history. There is a very strong association of obesity and genetics. So if you have parents who are obese, the chances are high that you may have children who are going to get obesity because of the genetic constitution. Of course, we have unhealthy diet, and when we are talking about unhealthy diet, we are thinking about consuming foods high in sugars, highly refined foods, and a lot of the processed foods. So this creates the risk of obesity. Then we have sedentary lifestyle. Children who spend most of their times on the screens. This could be on the television, on mobile phones, on the phones. They do not have time to go out and play and run around with other children. This creates a problem. Then we have sleep deprivation. When anybody, including adults, is deprived or does not have adequate sleep, then this really causes a release of a hormone we call cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and this is triggers the areas that are involved with eating, and you have more appetite, and even satiety is depressed, and so you end up overeating. Then parental modeling. Abraham Lincoln said, don't give your children any advice, let them see at what you are doing. And this is very practical when it comes to issues feeding. Because if the children sees you snacking, sees you using refined food, and this has been actually, we see it's like more of an epidemic actually, especially in the urban centers. You see now the use of refined foods is very high, and this also affects children. So when children see how the parents are doing, then they do the same. We are using a lot of refined foods. So when you try to introduce the child to the more whole meal foods, then it becomes very difficult because they have not used to it, and the issues of its palatability come in. So if you want really your children to learn to eat healthy, then it is important that you introduce them to healthy diets from the word go, and let them not have a lot of choices, but also try to look at the variety. Of course, there's the urban living, which is creating a lot of issues. If you look at our cities, especially if I look at our country, Kenya, the schools now are more in town centers. The areas have very little outside the compound for children to play, and this creates problem. Even in the estates, we worry about safety of our children. So then you are feeling uncomfortable when your child is outside. And then there is also the issue of access to junk food. They are everywhere. There's a lot of junk food. Even children, when they are going out for events, the first thing that they want you to provide as a parent is junk, and this is having an effect on our children. And this also goes hand in hand with the cultural beliefs. What do we eat as a family, which is determined so much by our culture, our community, what we accept as good eating. I've seen children are having a lot of difficulties. If you tell them to carry things like sweet potatoes with vegetables, or arrowroots, or even maize, there is the feeling around the small children that this is very wrong feeding, and so it's like, are you guys having a problem? So why are you eating on this? So that cultural aspect of what we expect as good feeding is becoming a problem. So what are the problems caused by childhood obesity? One, we are seeing a high rise in early onset of type 2 diabetes, and this is catching up. You see a lot of children under the age of 5 years, at 5 years, 10 years, with type 2 diabetes because of them being obese. Then you have a high increase in the number of children with hypertension, and also early onset of hypertension in children, and also abnormal cholesterol in children. Then of course, we have the joint and musculoskeletal pains. If you have excess weight, this puts stress on your joints, and then you start getting osteoarthritis at an early age. There is also the risk of an increase in cancers. Many cancers like the breast, ovary, pancreatic, colon cancer are associated with the cancer. And this has been shown that when we think as fatty tissue just as benign tissue in the body, in actual sense that is not the reality. And this acts as an inflammatory source or an inflammatory center where many of the immune modulators are produced, and these start having abnormal triggers in the body, making someone at risk of most of the inflammatory condition. There is the emotional and social impact of obesity on the child. increasing the rates of bullying, and also from the peers. Children do not feel comfortable playing with someone who they see as obese, or they will be teased a lot by their peers, and this leads to low self-esteem of the child. So this can lead to depression and anxiety because of what the colleagues are saying about the child. Then the child has difficulties accepting himself or herself, and this has serious implications. Then due to this, the child ends up being socially withdrawn. He feels like he's a misfit from the society. So to avoid all these complications, it is important that we know that the easiest way to avoid the childhood obesity is prevention. And prevention starts at home. And the good news, it starts with the parents. This is where the most important and the core point of where the prevention of obesity starts. So prioritize family meals. And this will involve the family changing its diet. What do we eat as a family? Do we embrace whole meals? Do we embrace using less of the sugar? And do we also embrace eating less and less of the refined foods, and eating more of the whole vegetables and green leaf vegetables in our diet? If you teach your child as a family you eat these foods, then children will learn that this is good food. They also have the habit of eating whole foods. If you have the habit of buying junk for your child, then the child knows that that is the right food. I see this a lot when you see in churches, in social places, children are walking around with popcorns, with crisps, with yogurt, everything which is not healthy. And this comes from the family. So what the family practices has a big influence on whether the children will develop obesity. And you will see that children with obesity, you have several of them in the same family. And this tells you that the eating habits have a big impact. Of course, there is the genetic aspect of it also. Then encourage active play. And there is what we call the rule of 5, 2, 1 and 0. What this means is that a child should have at least 5 servings of vegetables and whole grains at any given day. Then they should spend less than 2 hours of their time on the screen. Remember, excessive use of screens more than 2 hours affect the child's brain, affect the child thinking, affect the child's way of criticizing things. And to make it worse, it is also addictive. And then also, it also makes the child not do what is expected to do. So if you have a child who is spending too much time on the screen, as a parent, you have a lot of time difficulties making sure this child does his chores, because he's so much addicted. He can't even remember that he was supposed to do something. He forgets. He may even forego meals, or even not do what is expected. So he cannot concentrate in class, and this is not very good. So let's make sure that children play for more than 1 hour. Then we limit the time they spend on the screen, because spending too much time prevents the child from going out and playing with peers. And then as parents, we should be role models. Children follow what they see the parents eating, they do what they see the parents doing. So remember, monkey see, monkey do. Then ensure adequate sleep. As I've said, lack of adequate sleep makes the child release the stress hormones, which increase appetite, and they decrease the threshold for satiety, such that the child feeds more. So we are talking about a child having 8 to 12 hours depending on the age. And we find that in this era of urbanization, especially the people in urban areas, there is a lot of challenges of children going to school. Just that they wake up early, they come home late, they are taken to the doorstep by a vehicle, and so they do not have time to be able to exercise like the way children in rural areas, you will see them walking kilometers to going to school, possibly have an hour. But in urban centers, children, they sleep late, they do not have time to walk to school, they do not have time to exercise, and this creates a challenge. So these are things that we need to be intentional about. And then when we combine that, now we do not have safe play areas. You look at the urban areas, we do not have places for walking, we do not have places for cycling. So children are at endangered situations. And so when we are building and looking at developing our estates, let's be conscious about this, that we have safe places where children can play, they can cycle, they can ride, and even have social amenities like playgrounds where children can play. Let's not only think about playing, building skyscrapers, and not thinking about what is the future of the children who will be brought up in this kind of environments. Then the schools. What role do the schools have in preventing obesity in children? One, it is important that schools promote health snacking and also have healthy meal policies where they stress more on the whole meals, using whole grains for the children. And then encourage daily physical activities. You'll find, especially in the higher classes, that the physical education time, some teachers take that as time for catching up the curriculum. And what we know is that children who spend so much time sitting down, they do not have time for play. Then even their way and their capacity to assimilate stuff is not very good. The good learning aspect is that the brain has a way of its recall. And for you to learn anything, you must master the subject. You must be able to recall the topic. And for the brain to be able to have good recall and synthesize the message, it needs to be synthesized in the brain. And when you go out for jogging, for exercises, for games, then the brain has a way of trying to internalize what you learned and then be able to synthesize it, and makes you understand it better. And that's why you find that when you are jogging, you will remember, you come up with ideas that possibly you are trying to work on. And this is not different for children. And this also happens in school. When kids learn things, they have adequate sleep, they are able to assimilate that information in a better way and be able to recall it better, and this will help in the understanding of the matter that they have been taught. So let's take physical education time as physical education, and make sure that children have more than 1 hour of active to intense activity outside. Then it is also good that caregivers recognize and healthy weight gain and start taking action, especially when children are taking care children to the well baby care. Then it is important that you notice and monitor your child growth curve, and when you see the weight is not moving in the right direction, then you take steps immediately before it is too late. Then promoting positive body image. Remember that children need to learn values. So let's not stress so much on the body image, how a child looks like, and we compliment them according to their looks. But it is on the values, a child being to care for the others, a child being obedient, a child being compassionate. So this helps build body image, and these are skills that every child can be able to develop, and this is how we even develop our society. There is a quote that if you teach people in knowledge without teaching them values, then what you are creating barbarians. And this is why we are having a lot of difficulties in society. People who are so self-centered, people who do not care about anybody else, because of the way we have not really been able to inculcate a culture of values, a culture of thinking about others before yourself. And this starts at childhood, and what we encourage children to adopt. Schools can be powerhouses for prevention. And this is important, especially in our curriculum, incorporating nutritional education, which is there in the curriculum, and it should be taken seriously so that children understand the importance of having adequate whole grains, adequate vegetables, a balanced diet, importance of exercises, and the way it impacts on their health and also their education at that early age. Then it is important that we ban junk food sales within and around schools, the way we have done for alcohol, for cigarettes, for drugs. even this junk food, because if we do not take this very seriously, then the epidemic of obesity is going to be a big challenge for our society. We are going to have many people developing diabetes, hypertension, cancer, depression, all these mental problems, and this becomes a difficult situation. Then having school gardens where children can learn to grow various types of vegetables for their own and also for their families, and also having meal programs which are healthy, and also helping the children be able to make meals so that they also know how to make and learn to make healthy diets, so that most of the times you don't think about, when you think about eating something, you think about learning to the McDonald's or to the Pizza Inn, all these fast food places. Then I've talked about the physical education classes. Let them be times for physical education, not times for catching up on another subject on the curriculum. Then counseling services for at-risk children. It is important that we monitor the body mass index of the child. But then when we monitor it and we find that there is a problem, there should be a way that the child should be integrated to the healthcare system, so that we do not screen and then we made up making the child become a laughing stock for his peers, and also make him become isolated, because this will be dangerous for the health of the children. It is identifying and also putting them on follow-up and include the family for the child care. Then we have the community and the society's role. The government have a role to invest in safe parks and making sure that our environment is safe from these gangs, so that children can play safely. They have parks where they can go and walk and enjoy and have a good time. And we should also have walking paths in towns, and also cycling paths where those kids who have bicycles, even in estates, they can be able to safely cycle around without the threat of vehicles. And even now, people who drive in estates, they should be conscious about the presence of children and allow them to enjoy their childhood, allowing them to freely cycle in the estate without being endangered. Then it is also good that we have policies that control the advertising of junk food, especially during children times and shows, so that we do not encourage our children to be more addicted. Remember, these junk foods are very addictive and they are very appetizing, and they stimulate the satiety center that you feel, and the hunger center that you feel hungry even before you see the food. So if this food is continuously marketed to children, then we are preventing them from eating whole healthy foods and the cravings for the junks. Then high health campaign by the health providers and the ministries of health and those people in the health industry, so that we have people knowing that what is healthy diet, what is causing these problems of childhood obesity. And of course, I would encourage that you share this video within your circle, so that other parents learn that what it is means to have an obese child, and not only to get to feel stigmatized, but to be able to know that this is a problem. It is not their own problem, it's something that within the society, and all of us need to handle it. So remember to subscribe to the wellness health services website, and also to visit the overall health channel, where you can find more healthy, enlightening videos about living healthy and what you can do to live a healthier life. Then also involve faith-based groups in promoting awareness, churches, other places where young people meet and socialize. Let's make them avenues. I see where we have young people, they join and play games. We also encourage children to engage in some type of game, and they also promote their talents. This is very important, that all of us and all the avenues are utilized. Then remember that health is a journey, and so it can never be late. So a healthier child means a happier future. So remember that even smaller daily changes can reverse the trends. If you decide we are going to slowly introduce whole meals in our diet, we are going to be eating as a family, have time to eat, enjoying your meals. There should be no hurry in eating, because one of the things that have been shown to help people eat healthy is chewing your food thoroughly, taking time to eat, do not be in a hurry, and it is also a time for the family to socialize. Then you as a parent, remember that you are the first responder in this epidemic. Be intentional, things of the things that you can do to make your children live healthy. Then let's build environment where children thrive, not just survive. Let's think about our estates, how can we make them safer? Let's think about our schools, what can we do to make it safe for the children? What can we do to make it possible that our children are able to monitor their weight and be able to exercise without having challenges. And then let's also look at the things that we can adopt and embrace as a society. Like we have policies that guide the sale of junk food, the sale of refined foods, and this will help us become a society which embraces healthy eating. So let's remember that there are many things that we can do to ensure that you keep monitoring your child's weight, and if you see red flags, please take action. And remember, this is a journey, it is not a one-time step. Then create healthy family routines where you have time for play as a family, you have time for family meals, and you have time for each other. Then advocate for wellness in your child's school, and ensure the school where your child goes, they have embraced playtime, and also that the environment around the school is safe for the children, so that we do not have children being exposed to a lot of junk food. And then let's join together for a healthy child, so that we ensure that our children have a healthy future. And a healthy future also means healthy communities, and also let's develop environments where we can be able to live and exercise aggressively. So I encourage you that you follow us on our overall health YouTube channel. We also have blog articles about living healthy life in the wellness health services website. And if you want personalized care and personalized advice, you can always reach us on the number on the screen, and you can also subscribe to our wellness avenues, so that we give you personalized advice on what you can do to keep your healthy good. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the Wellness Health Services YouTube channel, and also leave us comments so that we know what are you doing about this epidemic of childhood obesity. Thank you very much. So for now, I welcome comments on what you have been doing about saving our children, and also making them live healthy. So send your comments or even your questions, so that we can learn more together. So any comments, any questions on this topic, would be glad to discuss together, so that we know how we can keep our children healthy. So let's remember that childhood obesity has been declared a worldwide epidemic. Is something that we need to be conscious about. This is something that we can do a lot as families, and also as a society. and it starts with creating an environment where children can be able to eat the right amount of food, and it starts from parents, where we are talking about weaning. When we are talking about babies, we allow them to be breastfed for the first 6 months exclusively, and when we start introducing these children to foods, then we introduce them to healthy foods that are not dangerous to their health, and also making sure that children have adequate sleep. And when we talk about adequate sleep for children, we are talking about more than 8 to 12 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So this is very important. There is someone who has asked, how much physical activity should a child get every day? And the response is that children need at least more than an hour of playtime every day. That is the least that they should have. Of course, if you can make it 2, 3, 4 hours, the better for the child. And of course, we should, yes, as far as we allowed them to have that physical play, then we should also be able to help the children integrate their play with their daily chores, so that they also learn to be responsible children. So the minimum they should have is at least an hour, but having more than that is well and good, especially for the small children. So that is very important. I have been asked, can you suggest fun ways to keep children active? There are many things that children can do, just normal running around that children do, playing games like football, cycling around the estate, if they have bicycles. Uh, those games that kids play, the katis, they are very important, and they make the child be able to socialize with their colleagues. So what we really need to cut on is the time that children spend on the screens, which is really an obstacle to the active play of children. So remember the 52-10 rule for children. One is 5 servings of green leafy vegetables, and then less than 2 hours of time on the screen, at least an hour of active play most of the days of the week for the child, and 0 added sugar in the child's diet. So sometimes we try to add sugar to a child's food, but it has been recognized that this adding of sugar is creating problem, and is one of the challenges that is causing obesity in children. So I hope that I have taken those questions adequately. You can still keep more comments, and also I would want to hear from you. What are the things that some of your children are doing to help them keep active? There are also activities like teaching your child to swim. Remember also, but then there should be there's someone who has asked whether obesity affects one's sex life. Yes. How this happens is that remember that the more body weight that you have, this will affect a lot of your activities in life. It will affect the way you move. It will affect the way you are able to adapt to your daily activities of life, and sex is not left out. So if you are obese, then this poses challenges to your sexual life in very many ways, which is important that you remember that being obese affects your daily activities in big ways, and it also does affect your sex life, and also your capacity to exercise, your capacity to do your daily work, and even your sleep, because you find that people who have obesity, they often have obstructive sleep apnea, which is a problem. Yeah. So thank you. So thank you very much. I really appreciate the interaction that you have had. Please keep watching. Please remember to share and to subscribe. And let's meet on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. We will try to work to be able to be there on time at 8:30, and we will discuss the metabolic syndrome. What is it? how does it affect our health. So thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you again on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. as we discuss the metabolic syndrome. Thank you. So I had